What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for coming back to another video. We are now in the second episode of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, titled The Star-Spangled Man. I will be getting straight into this and talking about my thoughts on the episode with some spoilers. This isn't going to be a full beginning to end breakdown, but I will be pretty open about things I want to talk about. Last week's episode, essentially the basic gist and vibe that we were able to gain from that episode is we have Sam, trying to get back into life with his family that, has now returned since the blip. He's trying to be more involved in their life because of everything that's happened in the last 5 years, particularly his sister. And yeah, we see that he is struggling with taking on the Captain America mantle, with taking on the title of being Captain America. He ends up giving the shield to the museum that we've seen in various Marvel films that has that whole exhibit for Captain America. And yeah, at the very end of the episode, we do see John Walker, played by Wyatt Russell, take on the mantle as the U.S. agent, as we know him in the comic books, but as a new Captain America. And I'm very curious to see where they take that. It's been really funny to see all the memes with the new Captain America versus the old Captain America online this last week. That's kind of my favorite part about watching these episodes week by week, is being able to see how people react to things throughout the course of the week. But yeah, that was the biggest takeaway from Sam's character in the first episode. He was struggling to take on the role of Captain America. He gives up the shield thinking that it'll just kind of be commemorated. And then at the end of the episode, he sees that they indeed just took the shield and handed it off to somebody else when that role should have been his. Then we see that Bucky is just struggling with life after being a brainwashed Winter Soldier. I am very curious to see how they kind of progress his character over the course of the series. But yeah, the biggest takeaway from his character is that he's been spending time with this older man named Yuri. And it turns out that he was actually responsible for the death of Yuri's son, and Yuri does not know this, but of course at the time Bucky was in his brainwashed Winter Soldier mode. So very excited coming into this episode. Last week's episode had some great action. There was tons of other little things that I'm not mentioning right now, but overall really and thoroughly enjoyed that first episode. And diving into this one, what I can say is I had a lot of fun with this episode. I found it to be a pretty good time. There's a lot of really great action, but I think the real heart of it is really being able to see Bucky and Sam starting to kind of have to cope with where they are in their situation right now. You know what I mean? They're kind of both in this stage of kind of running away from themselves a little bit, and I am very curious to see how they play that, throughout the course of the series. We do see Bucky and Sam together in this episode, which they really weren't in the last episode, and the real crux and the real heart of it really mainly had to revolve around the idea of Bucky just being so disappointed that Sam didn't take on the shield. We get to spend a lot more time with John Walker in this episode as well, and kind of get to see how he feels about taking on the mantle of Captain America. There is this element of him that is nervous and wants to do a good job, and near the end of the episode, he kind of rubbed me the wrong way, which I'm assuming was obviously the intent. But yeah, overall, we get to learn a little bit more about John Walker. We get to see a little bit more about these terrorists, this terrorist group with the red hand symbol with a globe inside of it. In the last week's episode, we learned that they essentially kind of want to return to what it was like during the blip. They find that time was better for them, and so that's kind of what they're trying to push. One of the main characters that we keep seeing in this terrorist group, I should have written her name down, but it's the young actress who played Enfys Nest in Solo, a Star Wars story. I thought she did really well in Solo as Enfys Nest, and it's nice to see her here in the Marvel Universe now as well. But yeah, that was cool. We find out that these terrorists are actually super soldiers, and that's when we're introduced to this character named Isaiah, who is this older black man that Bucky has apparently known for many years from back in the day, who was one of him, another super soldier. So he tells Isaiah that there's these new super soldiers out there, and we learn that Isaiah was put in prison. That part there, I don't really know how it's going to tie into the future. I am very curious to see how they bring Isaiah back in later episodes, because I felt like it didn't really serve the plot too much in this episode. Maybe I just didn't really connect with it. But yeah, overall, I am very curious to see where they take the next episode. There really wasn't an abundance to really take away from this episode on a spoiler level, at least for me. I think majority of it really was character work, specifically between Sam and Bucky. We're laying the groundwork for them kind of having that buddy relationship that's starting off with them butting heads, and totally understandable, right? You have Sam kind of ashamed that now the mantle has been given to somebody else. He knows he should have taken on the title of Captain America. He doesn't necessarily feel great about it. And then you have Bucky giving him a hard time about it. And so the two of them are both struggling with their own demons in a lot of ways. And then at the same time, you have Bucky ashamed of Sam, and Sam is essentially very openly ashamed of himself. I think that Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Stan did a really good job of playing these two characters who, you know, they're butting heads, they're very cocky, they're kind of getting on each other's nerves. But in the midst of all of it, you can feel their pain, you know, you can feel their turmoil, and it's all very present on their face. So I really do have to commend them for the performances that they're giving that you can definitely feel throughout the course of the episode. Yeah, but outside of a big action sequence pretty early on in the episode and a lot of little small character moments, there wasn't really an abundance to talk about on a spoiler level. So I am hoping that things pick up a little bit more as we get a little bit further. Near the end of the episode, we see just throughout the course of the episode in general that John Walker is trying to work with Sam and Bucky. His kind of approach to it is like, listen, you know, I've taken on the mantle. This is already a lot as it is. And if I can get, you know, Captain America's two best, you know, men, his two wingmen to join me, or at least be on my side, then this will make things a lot easier. You know, they're hesitant to do so. And near the end of the episode, essentially, John Walker ends up telling them, listen, just stay out of my way. So, you know, it's definitely going to rub a lot of fans the wrong way, I'm sure. And I'm very curious to see how that relationship between John Walker and the Falcon and the Winter Soldier kind of plays out throughout the course of the season. Obviously, I'm pretty sure that we will see Sam with the Captain America shield by the end of the season, you know, with him finally taking on the mantle. I think that's one predictable element that we can kind of just expect. And I'll be pretty surprised if that doesn't end up happening by the end of the season. But the big ending of the episode that we also knew was coming was that Bucky and Sam were going to go see Zemo, who is the villain from Captain America Civil War. Really excited that they're bringing his character back. And from a lot of the images that we've seen, whether it's on the posters or actually like shots from the trailer, we know that he is going to be getting his comic book accurate purple mask and costume. So I'm very excited to see them bring a character back that I feel had so much potential in Captain America Civil War. I'm glad they put him in jail and kind of just left him on the sidelines for them to be able to do something like this and bring him back later on. So I'm very excited for that moving forward and through the next week's episode. Overall, I didn't find there was an abundance of spoiler things to talk about. You know, definitely things to talk about as I have here, but overall I found that majority of the episode and the weight of it really just leaned on the idea of, you know, Bucky just being ashamed of Sam not taking on the mantle of Captain America, and Sam himself having that internal shame, and the two of them playing that really well, having that turmoil. I am looking forward to seeing their relationship blossom throughout the course of the episode. So yeah, guys, that's going to be my thoughts on episode 2 of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, The Star-Spangled Man. Please leave your comments down below. Did you like this episode? Did you not like this episode? Hit that like button if you guys enjoyed the video. Helps the channel out. Subscribe for more videos if you guys are interested in doing so, and I'll see you guys in the next one, all right? Bye-bye.